610 WTVN.
Our good friend, our buddy, our pal from Dallas, Texas, he runs TexasDefenseFirm.com. It's Jeremy Rosenthal. What's going on, dude?
Man, I'm just doing my thing, working on my jump shot, moving without the ball, everything that it takes.
You spend more time without the ball than you do with it. So, yeah, you definitely have to learn to move without the ball. There's no doubt. What's going on? I mean, you're a Texas Tech Red Raiders guy. What is going on with what's the tortilla throwing tradition there?
That's, okay. So we throw tortillas at kickoff. The reason that we throw tortillas at kickoff is because nothing else flies quite as well. And you also have to understand that when you are a Red Raider, you have a built-in inferiority complex, and you don't really like authority. And you don't even, and you drink so much that even when your team is getting penalized, you still throw them. So you throw them at kickoff, and I think the Big 12 made it a penalty if they'll let you do it once, right? You get like, it's kind of bad. Like you get like 3 warnings or something like that. And we're the only school in the Big 12 that like throws crap. So that rule was targeted at us, you think. So and you get 2 warnings, and you throw the tortillas, and then this year your 2025 Red Raiders are scoring 3 touchdowns before the 7-minute mark of the first quarter, and so they're still throwing them and they're still hucking them, and that's what's happening.
It seems like a waste of a perfectly good tortilla to me, because I do love a taco or a burrito from time to time. But hey, traditions are traditions. I became aware that
you got to cut a hole in the middle of it, and that increases your velocity and your not that anybody at Tech actually like studies that, but yeah.
I would fold it over and take a bite out of the middle in order to make the hole. So at least you're getting some nutrition out of the tortilla before you throw it out of the field. Jeremy Rosenthal. By the way, there are a bunch of stories suggesting that Texas Tech and Ohio State could meet up in the college football playoff. If the playoff was today, the way that the rankings are and the way that the bye weeks would fall, you could see a Red Raiders Buckeyes matchup. Just saying, something to think about for the future.
You know what? Our destiny is to get killed by somebody like Indiana, who would never get there anyway. I saw today that the Ohio State is on my ESPN app. It has you guys in second place in the Big Ten to Indiana. How does that feel? I mean, those guys really didn't. You guys beat them up pretty good last year, as I recall.
I think that's correct. And we don't play this year, at least in the regular season, but we are on a collision course with Indiana for the Big Ten title game in December. So we shall see.
Very good.
So talk about this. There's this scam that's going on. It's they refer to it as pig butchering. There's no actual pigs being harmed, but is this a situation where you get a random text message from a wrong number, and then they try to strike up a conversation with you, and then ultimately get you to give them money?
Yeah, this is a bad deal, and the Department of Justice recently, just this week, has the biggest forfeiture action in their history. They seized $15 billion in Bitcoin from these folks in Cambodia. And this is a scary, scary deal on a lot of levels. So stay with me and let me kind of break this down. So what happens? Yes, a lot of times you get a text from somebody, hey, I know you? Your phone number's in my phone, and do we know each other? And they're kind of hoping that you're in your 70s and your 80s. They're kind of hoping that you're elderly, that you sort of fall for that thing. And then they strike up a conversation. There can be a very long grooming period, or sometimes they go on dating apps, and they're convincing the person on the other end that there's a love interest here. Maybe you're dealing with a widow or somebody like that, and they get you to invest in their Bitcoin thing. They make a fake app which you track your profits, right? Which are not profits. You're just giving them money, but they're showing you a fake return, and you keep feeding it, right? You keep feeding the kitty, and all your money is gone. And it's called pig butchering because they fatten you up with a lot of the grooming stuff, and then they make you think that you're making a lot of money, and then they just cut you. They just gorge you like that. And what's really the nasty part of that, if that's not bad enough, these folks in Southeast Asia, the one that they got was in Cambodia. Uh, they're putting out ads for people to come and work, and they're enslaving them when they get there. And there are literally farms of people, humans that are working, that are forced to be these texters, that are forced to continue and perpetuate this scam. So this is an extremely big deal. This was an extremely big forfeiture for our government.
The bottom line, Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com, is be wary of any unsolicited anything, whether it's a text message or an email. I mean, I am so skeptical now. I mean, my dear old mother, who's damn near 80 years old, could send me a text, and I'd be, is that really my mom? I mean, who is that? You've got to be super skeptical, and certainly never give your account information or banking routing numbers or anything like that over the phone. It is incredibly scary. I tell my teenage boys all the time, there's 1,001 ways you can get in trouble on your phone, and that is just one of them. So just be aware of that. If you get a wrong number, don't reply. There's no good that's going to come. There's no good that's going to come for that.
Right.
And another thing I'll tell you too is, don't be afraid to be invasive with your parents or with your grandparents. And a lot of times they're ashamed of having fallen for a scam, and they might not advertise it. My dad's a widower, and about 5 or 6 years ago, he was 2/3 of the way for falling for one of these things. and he's happy that somebody is paying attention to him, and he had just lost his wife, and he's texting somebody, and so there's a little bit of excitement for the first time, and he's not talking about it, and so you got to be like, hey Dad, what's up with this? This sounds, let me see this lady's picture. I mean, and she was dynamite, and I'm like, well, you are a Rosenthal, and it is natural for women to just go head over heels for you. That's true, but I don't like the fact that she's in China now and trapped and needs a whole bunch of iTunes gift cards. That's a deal breaker for me. So anyway, you got to be invasive with your loved ones, and you can't be afraid to have difficult conversations.
It's a great point, Jeremy Rosenthal, our Dallas attorney. Before I let you fly, what's going on with the Supreme Court? See, they declined to hear the appeal from Alex Jones. I mean, it was the $1.4 billion defamation penalty over the Sandy Hook judgment, and SCOTUS said, nope, not going to hear this one.
Right, and the Supreme Court is what's called a court of discretionary review. What that means is they don't have to take your case, and it's very rare that they will take your case. They only take your case if it's what's called a case of first impression, meaning you have made legal history and what's happening to you has never happened before.
Interesting.
Sometimes if two states are suing each other, but we have 13 district courts. We have 13 courts across the country that are sort of intermediate. When they disagree on cases, when you have a circuit split 7-6 or 5 to whatever, what's 8. This is my tech education kind of biting me. When you have a circuit court split, that's when the Supreme Court will resolve it to harmonize the law across the land. Alex Jones' case just wasn't legally interesting enough. That's the sad part of it for him. I mean, he thinks that there's politics involved and that everybody's out to get him. But the fact is that the Supreme Court just can't take everybody's case.
That's interesting in and of itself, that the Supreme Court goes, this just isn't interesting to us. Next, we'll move on.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And you're talking death penalty cases. You're talking about people in prison forever. You're talking about DNA. You're talking about people who bought a crappy car. So you hear a lot of banter. Well, I'm going to take you all the way to the Supreme Court, and as a lawyer, you kind of chuckle about it. And the issue in Alex Jones' case, to give me 20 seconds, I'll tell you why his case was different or unique, or why he was arguing it. He was a very combative litigant, and the court sanctioned him repeatedly because he just wasn't playing nice. He wasn't showing up to things. He wasn't turning over documents. So the court defaulted him, and a $1.4 billion verdict functionally came from him not really participating in the court case. And so he's saying, well, that violates my due process rights. But again, all 13 circuit courts have the same view on it. So the Supreme Court says, look, there's nothing for us to come and solve here. So that's kind of what happened.